Let's get this disclaimer out of the way quickly. There isn't a bigger risk for a dumber reward than trying to jump into a wrestling ring and attack a pro wrestler. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. In fact, in the old days it was protocol to beat any intruders within an inch of their lives, not just to protect the business, but to protect the talent as well. And ever since tennis star Monica Seles was stabbed in the back in Germany, everybody takes this seriously. I'm Singer Siete for 7 Wrestling. Let's take a look at 7 scary WWE wrestling fan incidents. Now, before we get into this, we appreciate your support, so if you enjoy this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and arm drag that notification bell. Number 1. Roddy Piper. Bad guy wrestlers used to take it as a real badge of honor when they could elicit actual violence out of the fan base, but you know, it's still just a job. You do still want to go home to your wife and kids. So, in 1985 in Raleigh, North Carolina, when Roddy Piper was stabbed by a fan, it wasn't something to brag about. According to Sergeant Slaughter, he and Piper were backstage watching an Ivan Koloff match when Piper spotted a man beating a young girl near a concession stand. Piper would separate the man from the girl, and once he was sure the young girl was safe, would chase down and apprehend the assailant. As the man was being arrested, Slaughter noticed a small knife on the ground with blood on the handle. Piper insisted that the police let him talk to the man, but it isn't usual police procedure to let a pro wrestler handle the interrogation. You have the right to remain silent, you have the right to an attorney, you have the right to kick ass and chew bubblegum. Slaughter was finally able to calm Piper down, compress the injury, and get him to a local hospital. Once there, Piper was informed that if the wound had been a quarter-inch deeper, that he likely wouldn't have survived. The incident made national news, with the Associated Press doing a brief write-up. In it, we learned that the suspect was not only charged with assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, but was also a fan of the wrestler Piper had defeated earlier that night. And oddly enough, a 10-year-old girl was caught up in the brawl and was slapping Piper's leg. Now, we don't know if the girl who was slapping Piper's leg was the girl he had saved earlier, but we do know if she was slapping legs, she was way ahead of her time. Oh, come on, it was almost 40 years ago and Piper survived. It's okay to make a joke about it. Piper would have laughed. Number 2. Seth Rollins. A pretty common scam that is happening online is people catfishing others and requesting gift cards. Apparently, this is a way to transfer funds that is almost impossible to trace. So if you think you're talking to Alexa Bliss online and she tells you to buy her some Xbox gift cards and forward her the numbers, well, I'm afraid I got some bad news. And as you'd imagine, the wronged party can get pretty emotional about it. That's exactly what happened to Seth Rollins on the November 22nd, 2021 episode of Monday Night Raw, live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, as he was returning to the back after a bout with Finn Balor. Rollins was double-legged by a mysterious perpetrator. Now, this is pro wrestling, and 99 out of 100 times, this is another wrestler coming to Balor's aid. This was not one of those times. Eagle-eyed viewers would realize something was up when the camera immediately cut back to Balor in the ring, and they eventually went to a replay of the match. The intruder was escorted away by security, and Rollins, ever the pro, was back in character by the time they cut back to him. On a 2023 episode of Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast, Rollins would describe what happened. He was catfished online by someone pretending to be me, I believe. There was some amount of money exchanged for whatever he was being asked for, and this is not a new phenomena. People will do this with, it happens a lot with our girls. People will catfish as our female superstars, and they'll just prey on these people. They'll say like, oh, my brother's sick in the hospital, can you send money? But they don't ask for money, they ask for it in gift cards. It's insane. There was one with Becky, actually. This person finally figured out that they were being catfished. This person showed up at the front row of a show and brought a Ziploc bag of gift cards that they had sent. It was like, I added it up, we're talking thousands of dollars that they had given to Becky for her brother in the hospital or something like that. It was wild. So I just saw him running and didn't think anything of it. Next thing I know, he's cutting the corner, just zips right by Stewie, the cameraman, and straight football tackles me, form tackles me right there on the ramp, and it was terrifying because, as I said, I'm not prepared, so my instinct was just to get a hold of his head, and he's just clawing at me. I haven't divulged this part of the story yet. To try to dislodge him, the only thing I could do, because I don't want to punch him, the only thing that I could do, I saw he was on top of me, over me. All I saw was his legs were kind of like, so I just reached up and just Now, we'll wrap this up right here, but know that Seth was alluding to squeezing the guy's, grapefruits. Wow, from squeezing a guy's business to returning to Seth friggin' Rollins in less than a minute? What a pro. Number 3, Eddie Guerrero. If there's anything you gain from this channel other than an endless slew of obvious jokes, it's that wrestling ain't easy. Think about it. It's basically a 20 to 30 minute stunt show with no second takes, no water breaks, all without killing each other. It's truly magic. And that's just when it's two people in a ring. It all gets a lot harder when you throw in tables, ladders, chairs, kendo sticks, bug sprayers filled with arrogance, Mad Dog Vachon's prosthetic leg, the Big Show's weird giant chair. Generally, the audience walks through a metal detector before they're allowed access to the building, so wrestlers are less concerned about people having weapons. But this piece of trash could have easily ended a wrestler's life with this idiotic move. On the May 27th, 2002 episode of Monday Night Raw, Rob Van Dam and Eddie Guerrero were squaring off in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title. During the bout, Eddie would be climbing the ladder to prepare for a high-risk maneuver when a genius in a hockey jersey would run in from the crowd and push the ladder out from underneath an unsuspecting Guerrero. Fortunately, Eddie was able to see what was happening at the last second and was able to survive the assault without taking a serious fall, but it doesn't take much of a stretch of the imagination to see how this could have ended tragically. Guerrero would land on his feet and would be able to get a single shot in, but the referee took over almost immediately, tackling the guy so security could escort him out. Number 4, Randy Orton. The most annoying misconception about professional wrestling is that the fans think it's real. And if you're not a wrestling fan and you somehow stumbled into this video, let me break a little news to you. We know it's predetermined. Relax. We also know that Ross Geller and Rachel Green are actors, portrayed by David Schwimmer and Jennifer Aniston, respectively. And yeah, we know they don't love each other. Wait, what? Oh, I'm gonna have to find a new example. At any rate, because we all know it's a show, it's cool to run storylines like with Santino Marella, where someone is plucked from the audience and becomes a WWE superstar. But apparently there was one guy from Cape Town, South Africa, who thought this was his ticket to becoming a WWE superstar. During a show in July 2013, a 20-year-old man named Toshepo Sakabi managed to get into the ring during Randy Orton's corner posing routine and hit him with a low blow. And if you look, it seems to be an impression of a working low blow too, where it looks like you're hitting them below the belt with your bicep. Orton would fall from the corner, quickly realize what was happening, and then take after the guy. Security would wrangle him out of the ring, but not before Orton managed to give the guy a black eye. Remember, dude is 6'5", 250 pounds. Tell yourself he's a fake fighter, but just know it doesn't take much to turn a worked punch into a real one. But this doesn't just end with some idiot getting carted off to jail. Apparently, his master plan was to make a name for himself and get signed by the WWE. In actuality, Toshepo was an independent wrestler who went by the name Josie the Wrestling Machine. Needless to say, Josie did not receive an invitation to NXT. All he got was this fond farewell from the Viper. Number 5, Bret Hart. So far, we've been talking about moments that happen at wrestling shows where emotions run high due to the in-ring action. However, this next one took place at what's generally supposed to be a pretty reserved event, the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. Now, the Hall of Fame has been a frustrating point of contention for the WWE brass for years as they want to pay tribute to the stars of the past, but anytime you gather a bunch of wrestling fans in one place, you can't always count on them being respectful. However, the WWE really likes to make money and sell tickets to these things. All that said, nobody ever expected someone to try to attack a legend at the Hall of Fame ceremony, which is exactly what happened in 2019 when Bret Hart was on stage with his niece Natalya to accept the induction of the Hart Foundation. During the speech, an amateur MMA fighter named Zachary Madsen rushed to the ring and took down the former 5-time WWE champion, which was dumb for a variety of reasons. Normally, if you jump a wrestler, you have to worry about their opponent and the referee. Well, this was a Hall of Fame speech. The ring was literally surrounded by wrestlers. In no time, along with the event security, Madsen was sworn by Shane McMahon, Ronda Rousey's husband and MMA fighter Travis Brown, Xavier Woods, Curtis Axel, and more. Even on the way out, FTR member Dash Wilder took a free shot at Madsen. And if you know how much FTR worships Bret Hart, that's not a surprise. A deep dive into Madsen's Twitter account seemed to reveal some kind of a motive. Apparently, he was very frustrated that the main event of WrestleMania was going to feature Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch squaring off in a triple threat match for the Raw and SmackDown women's titles. On April 2nd, he would tweet to Vince McMahon, "You will rue the day you decided to have 3 females main event." I don't know why he put females in quotes. He'd follow that up the next day with a tweet directed to Triple H saying, "Good morning, Triple H. You can do it. You've always been superior and will always be superior to Stephanie McMahon. It's just a fact of life. Now get back what's yours and put her and the current main event of WrestleMania 35 where they belong. Backstage." Ha ha ha. Charming. When it was all said and done, Becky Lynch's hand was raised at the end of WrestleMania 35. Bret Hart fortunately escaped the incident without any serious injuries, and Madsen was charged with 2 counts of assault, 1 count of criminal trespass, and 1 count of violation of local law. Number 6. Scarlet. It's a sad fact of this business that oftentimes women wrestlers are the recipients of unwanted touching from fans around the ringside area. And in 2019 at AAA's Conquista Totajira event in Cancun, Mexico, current WWE star Scarlet suffered an incident that was a lot more threatening than a tap on the shoulder. During a 6-woman bout, Scarlet, then known as Scarlet Bordeaux, was teaming with Lady Shani and Taya Valkyrie against Chic Tormenta, Tessa Blanchard, and La Hydra. It's possible I just butchered half of those names. If I did, please forgive me. Towards the end of the match, Scarlet would find herself on the floor after an impressive dive from the top rope. She'd end up next to the ringside fans when a man would grab her and pull her toward him in a creepy embrace. Fortunately, Scarlet's partner, Lady Shani, was able to help her escape. One of the more disturbing parts of this interaction is that event security is clearly visible, but doesn't do anything to assist the clearly in distress Scarlet. And the guy seems pretty pleased with himself in the immediate aftermath. The match would end shortly afterwards with Tessa Blanchard picking up the pinfall victory over Taya Valkyrie. The following day, Scarlet would address the incident on Twitter saying, "It is never okay to touch a performer without their consent. I didn't realize what happened until I watched the footage afterwards, being so in the moment after a dive with my back turned otherwise, I would have reacted much differently. Thanks to Lady Shani AAA for having my back." I think there's often a sense of entitlement that comes with purchasing a ticket to a wrestling show. Yes, you can boo and cheer whoever you want, but copying a feel on a female performer, that should result in some kind of legal repercussions. Number 7. Sonia DeVille. Well, we have definitely saved the worst for last. Yes, Roddy Piper was friggin' stabbed, but the premeditation that went into this incident is absolutely chilling. In August 2020, WWE superstar Sonia DeVille was involved in a terrifying incident involving a stalker who had been obsessively targeting her for months. The stalker, a 24-year-old man named Philip Thomas, had been planning to kidnap DeVille after following her social media activities and posting disturbing messages about his intentions online. The night of the incident occurred on August 16, 2020 at DeVille's home in Lutz, Florida. Thomas had driven from South Carolina to Florida carrying items such as duct tape, zip ties, a knife, and other materials meant to aid in a planned abduction. After arriving at DeVille's home, Thomas cut a hole in the screen porch and waited for hours before making his move. Inside the house, DeVille was with her fellow WWE wrestler Mandy Rose, and at about 2:45 a.m., DeVille's home security alarm went off, alerting her that someone had broken in. She quickly checked her security system and saw the intruder on camera, prompting her and Rose to flee the house and call 911. Thomas remained in the house after DeVille and Rose fled, believing they were just hiding upstairs. He was still there when law enforcement arrived and took him into custody. Thomas later admitted to the police that he had been planning the kidnapping for 8 months. He was charged with multiple offenses, including armed burglary, attempted armed kidnapping, aggravated stalking, and criminal mischief. His social media history revealed chilling posts in which he fantasized about kidnapping DeVille, and he even declared his love for her. In the legal proceedings that followed, it was revealed that Thomas had no prior criminal record, but had become obsessed with DeVille. In 2022, Thomas was sentenced to 15 years in prison, followed by 15 years of probation. The Sonia DeVille stalker incident is a stark reminder of the dangers that public figures face and the need for stronger security measures to protect them against obsessive behavior. DeVille has since become an advocate for privacy and safety, using her platform to raise awareness about stalking and harassment issues. Well, there's our list. Did we forget any other scary wrestling fan incidents? If so, please leave them in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and DDT that notification bell. Until next time, I'm Senior Siete for 7 Wrestling saying bye-bye.